remember when I said the hover thing? So I'm going to get rid of that word hover, because remember when I said you should only put the position on relative when it's hovering? So T file open. Files. Apparently I am in the wrong tutorial. I am in the wrong tutorial. So those of you who don't want me to slave labor, you guys can feel free to work on this on your own, but I'm going to also show it up here. So when I close my window, there, and I do this, you see how that comes through? Because that's position relative. So when I put the position, when it's only relative on hover, I reload, I don't have that problem. So that's what I was talking about earlier. This just saved you like, this just saved you a going postal. Yeah. This is like a good 5 hours of, over a lifetime of what the heck. So let's get rid of the after. And then we're going to recode it. Okay. So now nothing happens, right? Nothing happens. So the first thing we want to do is what? The first thing that's required is generated content, right? So we need content. Anyone know what should go in here? I'm hinting by actually coding it. Anyone can guess what goes in here? Anyone can read? So now when I do it, nothing happens because I did it wrong. What did I do wrong? Seriously.
What was the last one?
Oh, because it's a title attribute, that's why. I actually have a title in there. So this does not look good, because by definition, generated content is inline. So we are going to, we added position relative there, right? We do position absolute, and that takes it out of line, right? That still does not look good. Let's first give it a background color so we can see it. Yep. And I am going to go with yellow, just because it's less. So that looks already better. But let's, top is 1M, right? So it's underneath it. So it's no longer going to cover it, right? Then width is 12M. I just decided to go 12M. I don't know why. Okay, it's already looking better. We'll give it a border radius of 20 pixels, padding of 5 pixels and 10 pixels. That already looks better, right? And we can't give it a border, because in this example, if we gave it a border and we gave it the triangle underneath, the border would show. But we can, because we could put the after on top, but then there's no way to give a border on that triangle. There's many different ways to do this, and showing you how to do border is possible, but not in the day that we have today. So at this point, we have, it's decent looking, right? Let's put an arrow on top of it. So we do, what's the one thing that's required for generated content? Content. And here we don't want it to have anything, right? And we want it to be a triangle, so we do height, 0, width, 0. And then we're going to do border, 20 pixels, solid, and transparent. Right? And then do we need to do border top or border bottom?
Depends on where we want the triangle.
The triangle is supposed to be on top of it. So it's the opposite. So when we want to do top, we put the border bottom. And I'm going to make it red for right now, just so that you can see it.
Sorry, everybody, I'm okay.
Problem is, we didn't position it anywhere. There's probably lots of other problems too, because I'm live coding. There we go. So it's not exactly where we want it. We want, first of all, to move this down by 20 pixels. No. 1M, 1.2M. And we will just do this at 0.2M. 0.4M, actually. I'm just guessing. Some people actually know how to do this. I don't.
Can you give me M off?
Top is, I forgot the M there. Okay. So now we need to position this. Top is 1M. And let's see if it's good. Nope. Oh, great. Restart Aurora. I love it when you want me to restart a browser in the middle of a presentation. So yeah, you just keep hacking it until you like it, like where it appears. And I should know the math for this, but I don't do it often enough to have it memorized. There, we're getting there. Okay. But the left needs to be 0. Or actually, the left should be about 20 pixels, maybe 40 pixels. Left, 20 pixels. Let me do that. And that's pretty close to where we want it. And then we're going to switch the color back to yellow, because we only made it red so we could see it while we were playing with it. And there it has a little arrow. And then this one also has the little arrow, because it does it on all of them. And there it is again. So that's the general idea. Okay. So the people who were doing it on their own, are you guys still need, was anyone doing it on their own? Okay. Do you need a little bit more time? You're almost there? Okay. Awesome. And you probably did it faster than me, and you should be teaching the class. Okay. So let's go back into view full screen. Okay. And that's actually it for this section. Is lunch ready? What?
Yeah, it'll be here in just a few minutes.
Okay, because oh, it's not here yet.
It's not here yet.
Okay, so I'll go on with media queries because that's pretty quick. You had a question?
I'm just wondering what the difference was between doing shapes in CSS versus, is there a canvas that you can render in?
Yeah, you can totally use Canvas, but Canvas is a completely different, Canvas is HTML5. Canvas, you can draw anything you want to the board, but Canvas is a separate element. So here, with generated content, you could actually put a canvas in your generated content if you wanted to, I think. I mean, I've never tried it, but I don't see why you wouldn't be able to. But there's no reason to use canvas when you can make a shape like this.
It requires JavaScript.
Yeah, this is CSS. We're not talking about JavaScript. Canvas is purely JavaScript. Well, Canvas is part of HTML5 because there's the canvas element. And so Canvas is the only part of the canvas element that is actually HTML5. The rest, other than the height and the width, basically, where you can declare it in CSS, and you can do, you can rotate it or whatever in CSS, but you're rotating the canvas element. All the appearance of it is JavaScript. Any other questions? Yeah,
I don't do a lot of CSS, but when I had in the past, I would go into the debugger and play with the values there,
Yeah.
and then go back and do it. Is there an easy way to do that with hover?
yes, let me show you debugging. So here, is this our solution? This is our solution, right? I open up the debugger, and I'm going to select on a link. These weren't actually links. This is why I couldn't actually target anything, because it was tool trip was true, and that's why I was confused. I was doing href on an I. I's don't have href, so apologies for that. But notice here, I can go like this, and I can click on hover, and it forces it hovered. And then down here, it says hover before, and I can actually debug this and change the color to red, and change the color to red. And this is the kind of stuff that when I discovered, I went, oh, wow. But you guys are kind of quiet. I was expecting a whoa, because this is so simple, but this is so cool. I mean, you can debug everything.
I had no idea that checkbox was
yeah.
there.
So let's see what else we can do. So we can actually, remember how I was struggling with this? Where are we? We are here. I'm going to go in here. And you can actually, I'm hitting the Alt key right now. So it's going up by 0.1, right? And down by 0.1. So I can actually do it by point. With nothing, it'll go up by full amount, right? By 1 pixel, by 1 em. See how it's doing, incrementing that way? And then if I hit, is it control? No. If I hit function, it goes up by 10. See how it's going 20, 30, 40, 50? So when you're doing minutia, you hit the Alt attribute, or Alt key, or Option key. When you're doing huge chunks of numbers, you hit the function, FN. Did you guys know that? Yeah, the debugger is sweet. What else should I show you on here? Oh, I'll show you how to learn. Like, people are like, how do you know all this stuff, right? This is where I learn. This is all of the styles that are inherited. The ones that are in bold or actually not grayed out are actually in the page, in the CSS. The ones that are grayed out are inherited from the user agent style sheet or from the parent. I mean, this right here is inherited from the parent, but it's actually declared by me, not the user agent style sheet. This is all, these are all the default values. So then I go through this, and I kind of can find out stuff that is no longer prefixed. Let me see if I can find one, like tab size. I did not know that tab size was not prefixed. Most of these I knew. And so here I do not see transform, right? I see text transform, but I don't see transform. But then I go up here, and then I see the transition and transform are up here, so I know that it's still prefixed. But by looking at this, you can see what is actually no longer prefixed. So this is a main tool for me to learn Twitter, IRC channels, and this are my main way of learning what's new and upcoming. Because I don't always see I try to see every tweet that comes through, but I don't. And sometimes people just aren't talking about it, because sometimes I care about stuff and no one else does. And I'll see that it was taken out by looking at this. And another cool place to look is also in your browser, you type Chrome, flags. And it's basically the flags that you can turn on and off. One of the ones, there's a slide in my last deck today called, what is it? Forget the name of it. It's what everyone's talking about. It's by Adobe, it's a spec by Adobe. Where like,
Filter. What?
no, it's the one where like you have a div and it just flows through the different divs. I'm gonna go look it up. 'Cause
Demo?
Hold on a second, I'll tell you what it is. Because it's in my slides and it's there. So the one that, it's CSS regions, that's the word. So CSS regions were enabled, were in Chrome, and you could enable them with a flag. And so that's how I learned that it was finally in the browser, was I saw that the flag was there. And then I'm in the middle of doing a presentation last week, and my presentation doesn't work because I loaded up the new Chrome that morning. And I'm like, shoot, they turned the flag off. I turned it on. They usually, when you update, they leave the flags that you checked on. They actually pulled it from the browser because too many people were implementing it. And it's completely still experimental, and they don't want people implementing something that's experimental. So I was implementing it to show you what it looks like and what's coming, because it was in the future features. But they actually pulled it because too many people were messing with it.